History is written by the victors, but the soil remembers the blood. Before the horrors of the Holocaust, there was a blueprint. Before the world knew the word genocide, there was a man who turned a desert into a graveyard. His name was Lothar von Trotha. He didn't just lead an army. He signed a death warrant for an entire race. Today, we peel back the layers of colonial propaganda to expose the Butcher of Namibia. This isn't just a story of war. It's the origin of modern evil. Brace yourself. You are about to witness the uncomfortable history of a monster. To understand the Butcher, we must first understand the blade. Lothar von Trotha was not born a monster. He was forged in the cold, rigid furnaces of the Prussian military aristocracy. In 19th century Germany, the soldier's uniform wasn't just clothing. It was a second skin that demanded the absolute death of emotion. From his youth, Trotha was taught that mercy was a civilian luxury, and violence was the highest form of statecraft. He was a man hungry for a specific kind of glory. You see, these dictators often share a common obsession: the fear of being forgotten. In our first episode of the Who Was He series, we explored how King Leopold II used his invisibility as a prince to build a hidden empire of blood in the Congo. If you haven't seen that chilling breakdown of how Leopold manipulated the world, go watch episode 1 after this. It's the foundation of everything we talk about on this channel. While Leopold hid behind the walls of his palace, Trotha wanted the world to watch him. He felt invisible in a military era dominated by legendary names, and he was desperate for a total victory that would etch his name in history forever. He carried a terrifying philosophy: that negotiation was for the weak. By the time he was sent to German Southwest Africa in 1904, he had already deleted his own humanity. He didn't arrive to restore order. He arrived to build a legacy on a mountain of bones, believing that being hard was the only way to be immortal. He didn't just want to defeat the Herero people. He wanted to prove that he could be even more efficient in his cruelty than the tyrants who came before him. Lothar von Trotha didn't just want to win a war, he wanted to play God. While other colonial figures, like the ones we've discussed before, preferred to hide their atrocities under the mask of civilizing the world, Trotha was different. He was tired of the whispers and the shadows. He wanted his cruelty to be loud. He was a man obsessed with his own reflection in the eyes of history, and in 1904, that obsession turned into a nightmare for the Herero people. When the uprising began, the German government in Berlin was actually leaning towards a negotiated peace. They wanted to maintain a workforce and a stable colony. But Trotha, he saw negotiation as a personal insult to his Prussian blood. He viewed the Herero not as human beings with grievances, but as a stain on his perfect military record that needed to be erased. He intentionally sabotaged every chance for peace, driven by a deep-seated insecurity that mercy would make him look weak in the annals of the great generals. This ego led to the most chilling document in colonial history, the Vernichtungsbefehl, the Extermination Order. In a cold, arrogant declaration, he told his soldiers that every Herero with or without a gun, with or without cattle, will be shot. He wasn't just clearing land, he was clearing his own path to a dark immortality. He wanted to be the man who proved that absolute violence was the only language the inferior understood. He didn't just want a colony. He wanted a graveyard where his name would be the only one left standing. Lothar von Trotha didn't just want to kill. He wanted to engineer death. After the Battle of Waterberg, the Herero people were not defeated in a typical military sense. They were retreating. Any other general might have called for a surrender, but Trotha saw an opportunity to conduct a horrific experiment in human endurance. He deliberately left only one path open for the fleeing thousands: the Omaheke Desert, a vast, waterless wasteland. This is where the Butcher truly earned his name. He ordered his troops to seal off the desert, building a line of guard posts that stretched for over 150 miles. He wasn't just guarding a border. He was guarding a cage of sand. He gave a direct, chilling order to shoot anyone, including women and children, who tried to crawl back for water. To Trotha, these weren't human beings crying out in agony. They were mere variables in a military equation. He famously wrote in his diary that the dry atmosphere would do the work that bullets couldn't finish. As thousands of families began to die of thirst, digging holes in the sand with their bare hands just to find a drop of moisture, Trotha remained unmoved. His empathy hadn't just faded, it was surgically removed by his own ego. He viewed the sounds of dying cattle and screaming children as necessary noises of a successful campaign. While the world outside was beginning to hear whispers of this nightmare, Trotha was busy taking notes, satisfied that his desert trap was working with scientific precision. He had turned the geography of Namibia into a weapon of mass destruction, proving that a heart without empathy is more dangerous than any artillery battery ever built. The most uncomfortable part of history isn't just what happened, it's that it never truly ended. Lothar von Trotha was never executed. He was never dragged to a cage for his crimes. He returned to Germany as a celebrated hero, a man of iron will. But his true legacy didn't die with him in 1920. His methods of racial purification and total annihilation became the dark blueprint for the horrors of the 20th century. The concentration camps in Namibia were the ancestors of the ones used by the Nazis. The Butcher may have passed away, but his ghost stayed behind, teaching future tyrants that the world will stay silent if you kill in the name of progress. But look around you. Is the world any different today? As you watch this, genocides are still unfolding in corners of the globe while we scroll through our phones. We see the same desert traps, the same engineered hunger, and the same cold-blooded rhetoric used by modern-day Trothas to justify the erasure of human lives. History is not a storybook to read before bed. It is a warning siren screaming in our faces. If we read about the Butcher of Namibia and feel nothing for the victims of today, then we are not learning history. We are just consuming it. The silence of the world in 1904 gave Trotha his power. Your silence today gives power to the monsters of the present. We tell these stories on uncomfortable history because a generation that forgets its past is condemned to repeat it. Don't let these lives be lost in the sand twice. Once by the bullet, and once by your indifference. If this story shook you, if it made you question the world we live in, then stand with us. Hit that like button and subscribe to join this mission. We aren't just building a channel, We are building a community of people who refuse to look away. Share this video because the truth is the only weapon we have against the shadows of the past. Who will be next? Stay tuned, because history is deeper and darker than you think. Stay uncomfortable